Hey, everybody. The awaited response from Deshaun Watson's team to the Tony Buzbee press conference today arrived, and here it is, and I'll read it to you as follows. An initial response to the Buzbee press conference, the case of plaintiff number one. At a press conference today, attorney Anthony Buzbee introduced the first plaintiff to the media. She identified herself as Ashley Solis. In her remarks, Ms. Solis stated, "People say that I'm doing this just for money. That's false." Mr. Buzbee himself repeatedly claimed that the litigation he filed on behalf of other Jane Does isn't about money. At his initial press conference on March 19th, announcing the first wave of lawsuits, Mr. Buzbee stated, "The case ain't about money, and it's certainly ain't about seeking publicity or fame. I personally don't need it, and these women don't want it. This case is about female empowerment." In fact, according to the documentation below, Mr. Buzbee sought $100,000 in hush money on behalf of Ms. Solis to quietly settle the allegations the month before he filed the first lawsuit. "My client's demand is $100,000, Buzbee associate Cornelia Brandfield Harvey wrote in a February 9th, 2021 email on behalf of Ms. Solis. Ms. Brandfield Harvey followed up with a clarification of the $100,000 demand later that same day. This offer remains open until Friday of this week. Mr. Buzbee is copied on all of the emails. The Watson representative who engaged in the discussions with Mr. Buzbee and his firm is Scott Gaffield, the general counsel at the Athletes First Agency of Laguna Beach, California. On February 19th, Mr. Gaffield responded to Mr. Buzbee and Ms. Brandfield Harvey by inquiring about, quote, the rationale behind the $100,000 demand, unquote, given that, quote, we don't believe that the alleged facts show that Deshaun did anything wrong. Mr. Buzbee responded that same morning, we made a legitimate demand. You rejected it. We won't be making another bid against ourselves. He then added, this is Houston, Texas. Perhaps you should find him a lawyer here so you can apprise both you and your client of the landscape here and who you are dealing with. In a written statement, Mr. Gaffield said, my email exchanges with Mr. Buzbee and Ms. Brandfield Harvey were very clear. We did not think that the facts showed that Deshaun did anything wrong with their client. We believe then, and fully believe now, that Deshaun learned a lesson about putting himself in this type of situation by interacting with people he does not know. As the emails show, we were willing to continue discussions on Deshaun's behalf to explore ways to prevent a lawsuit and a public spectacle. But Mr. Buzbee informed us that he was unwilling to do so. We expect that this matter will be resolved in court, unquote. The email communications occurred between February 3rd and February 19th, 2021. Below are the email exchanges in their entirety, and they have the email exchanges along with the emails of all the persons involved, including Tony Buzbee. And they're quite, says, you can read them here below. In fact, I will read them for you just to continue this communication. This is from Cornelia Brandfield Harvey representing Tony Buzbee to Scott Gaffield. Hello, Mr. Gaffield. I'm writing this email to follow up on our phone conversation from yesterday. We are of the strong position that we need a mediator for any settlement negotiations going forward in this manner. We believe it is in the best interest of all parties to have a mediator in order to protect any discussions. If you're agreeable, we can circulate a list of names of mediators that we have used in the past and potential dates and times for mediation via Zoom. If there are mediators that your office would like to propose, we will consider your suggestions. Please let us know. Thank you. Sincerely, Cornelia Branfield Harvey, Associate Attorney, the Buzbee Law Firm. From Scott Gaffield of Athletes First, sent Wednesday, February 3rd, 2021, to Cornelia Branfield Harvey of the Buzbee Law Firm. Copied Anthony Buzbee, that is Tony Buzbee, subject Deshaun Watson. Thanks, Cornelia. Tony, do you have a moment to connect by phone today? I would be happy to speak with you both jointly if you would prefer. Thanks, Scott Gaffield. From Cornelia Branfield Harvey, sent Wednesday, February 3rd, 2021. Scott, certainly we can all connect by phone. We're not available today, but we're available anytime between 12 p.m. Central Standard Time, 10 p.m. Pacific Time tomorrow, or anytime after 8 p.m. on Friday for a phone call. Sincerely, Cornelia Branfield Harvey. Okay, great. Let's do 9 p.m. tomorrow is the response. And then Scott says, sounds good. And then the other exchanges are cordial. Hope you both had a nice weekend. Checking to see if you had a chance to discuss our conversation regarding potential paths forward. And that's from Scott. Cornelia says, hi, Scott. Thank you for touching base. We have had time to discuss this option amongst ourselves and with our client, and we are willing to move forward with settlement negotiations without a mediator. Therefore, my client's demand is $100,000. Please let us know Mr. Watson's response. Sincerely, Cornelia Branfield Harvey. From Scott Garfield, to Cornelia Branfield Harvey, Tony copied. Confidential settlement communication. Thanks, received it, and we'll be in touch. From Cornelia Branfield Harvey back to Scott. Scott, the offer remains open until Friday of this week. Thanks, Cornelia Branfield Harvey. And then Scott writes back to Cornelia. Cornelia, do you and Tony have openings to discuss your offer today or tomorrow? Thanks, Scott. And then Scott says, I'm available for phone call tomorrow in the morning, 9 p.m. Work for you? Confidential settlement communication. Hi, Cornelia and Tony. Following my call last week with Cornelia, wanted to check to see if Mr. Solis wanted to either help us understand the rationale behind our $1,000 demand, or Ms. Solis, or come back with a different figure. As I said to Cornelia last week, we don't believe that the alleged facts show that Deshaun did anything wrong with regard to Ms. Solis, but we are nevertheless happy to continue the conversation around a reasonable settlement figure because we believe he can learn a lesson about having put himself in this situation. Thanks, Scott. Subject Deshaun Watson, we laid a legitimate demand. This is from Tony Buzbee. You rejected it. We won't be making another or bid against ourselves. We also won't be having an extended dialogue about why you think your client did nothing wrong or how you want this to be a learning experience for your, quote, high-profile law athlete, as you refer to him. This is Houston, Texas. Perhaps you should find a lawyer here so you can apprise both you and your client of the landscape here and who you're dealing with. Talk soon, Tony Buzbee. And that puts this entire situation in a different light. They were seeking money from the start, $100,000. They had confidential settlement negotiations, to which Mr. Buzbee has consistently lied about because he thought they were going to remain confidential. But they established a press conference attempted to make Deshaun look bad today. And so Deshaun's team apparently believed, well, this is the next step. And so they turned up the heat on Tony Buzbee. It's interesting they took time to basically inform them twice of who they were dealing with. Ooh. Subscribe to Zenny62 and bookmark oaklandnewsnow.com.